Welcome back to OpenLine. We are talking about movies from 2015 and the Oscars, which of course are coming up. We have with us film critic Jason Shawn, and all right, diversity at the Oscars. That's been a big issue this year.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean the whole hashtag of Oscars so white. I mean, and it was last year as well. I mean, that's the thing. It's a frustrating situation because there were amazing performances that could just as easily be on there, and you know, it's what happens when everything is reduced down to numbers. And you know, that's a problem. But what's interesting is the way that the Academy has responded to it. They've started increasing invitations to try and get more women and people of color into their membership roles, which is a great course of action. They've also done this thing where members who haven't necessarily worked in the industry for 3 consecutive decades or something are sort of going to get thinned off the voting ranks, which is, in theory, sounds interesting, but it sort of buys into this idea that older folks are a bit more closed-minded and stuff, and I don't think that's necessarily the case at all. I mean, this is Hollywood. This is like if you listen to Fox News, you would think this is the most concentrated bunch of left-wing thinking minds in the country. I think that the thing to do, it's just because I see this in my own critics guild, a lot of people are just very picky about what they watch, and it just seems like to vote on the Oscars you should have at least seen 50 movies that year. It's that simple. And how do you verify that? And it was easy before, screeners that they sent you to watch in your home when you had to go to a public screening of something, and they had a record of it. And then they could know who all was doing the voting.
So how many people vote? How many people are part of the Academy?
It's somewhere between 2,700 and 3,500. Okay. It's a lot of people.
But you're saying many of them haven't seen many of the movies.
They watch what the kids want to watch when they're home for the holidays or that sort of thing. I mean, and it's just, and the problem is that it's not so much that, people are determined to ignore, black talent. It's not even that. It's just that, it has to, the right time has to reveal itself to them for them to make the point of watching a film like that. And it's just and I get it. There are times when I'm just I don't want to see something serious. I want to watch something funny. And there's always an excuse. But if as part of a voting requirement, if you have to watch, just a film a week, like that, if you're drawing from a larger pool, that's always going to help. That's always going to help, and I think that's the solution. But that's just me, and they didn't ask. I'm not a member of AMPAS, of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
Will Smith, is that a surprise he's not in the actor category?
Yeah, it is, because it's the kind of part that almost always gets Oscar attention. But I mean, it's that film is fascinating, because it's great to have someone just be upfront about how evil the NFL is, and that film does not mince words; it lays it out, and that's great. But the actual writing in it is very after school, especially made for Lifetime, very boilerplate. And what's interesting in the first couple reels of it, as you're seeing the various past football players who have succumbed to CTE. It almost feels like a horror film in those scenes, and that's so much more effective than here's the inspiring story of the guy who diagnosed it and became the symbol of the fight against the NFL's refusing to acknowledge this, and that's great, and more people will see it because it's that kind of film. But there's a down and dirty Larry Cohen style horror film about just the horrifying ways that this disease has claimed American families and our athletic heroes. That's my kind of film. That's me second guessing it.
All right, I love documentaries. I want to put up the list for Academy Award documentaries. This would be the list of the top documentaries, presumably, and kind of get your take on them. What do you think there?
They're all very good. If you have Netflix, you can actually watch What Happened, Miss Simone. It's a documentary about the singer Nina Simone. It's very It's very good, but at the same time, it's also very controversial, which is what you want out of a documentary. But Netflix bankrolled it, so you have that kind of access to it. The Look of Silence is my favorite of the 5. It is Joshua Oppenheimer's second film about the Indonesian genocide. And in the first one, The Act of Killing, he interviewed basically the architects of these people who killed off all of Indonesia's, communist minority. Yeah, this is The Look of Silence, and
that first one, The Act of Killing, was
well, and in this case, this one focuses on the son, this guy whose brother was killed by this organized genocidal bunch of thugs who took over the government and who are still in charge in Indonesia, who've never had to come to terms with this, and it's him trying to keep his family together and confronting them. I mean, it's a very different focus than Act of Killing, and it will mess you up and totally wreck the rest of your day, but absolutely worth seeing. And then you've also got the Amy Winehouse documentary, which is incredible.
A lot of people think that's probably the front runner.
I think it's definitely the front runner. And Cartel Land is very good too, just because it's down and dirty, showing you what's going on in the Mexican drug wars right now. But Amy is the one that even people who don't necessarily watch documentaries, everybody knows who Amy Winehouse is. Everybody knows how sad that story was, and it's an amazing experience. That one will also ruin the rest of your day.
That's pretty tough. All right, so we have 2 minutes left.
Okay.
Movies, the film community in Nashville right now. Belcourt is being renovated.
Yes.
Kind of what in our 2 minutes here are there going to be new theaters opening? Belcourt opens in about 6 months.
June, yeah.
Give us a sense of the landscape.
Well, it's the Green Hills and Hollywood 27 are picking up some of the slack. Showing the films that normally would go at Belcourt. Green Hill's going with the artsier ones. Hollywood 27 actually has an amazing kung fu movie called Ip Man 3. It's in Cantonese with subtitles, but it's just great. If you like an old school kung fu movie, you can totally check that out. It's a lot of fun. It's just sort of, Belcourt's doing some pop-up events, like at Third Man Records and at Oz Arts Center and at the Everly Observatory on Vandy. So there's a presence there. It's just, not the way that it, normally was. And then the film festival is coming up in April, and that's going to be insane because, there's so many films that we take for granted that would be showing at the Belcourt that the film festival is going to be able to present. So that's start saving your dollars now for that one because it'll be worth it.
Very good.
And then also one other thing in a category that is dear to my heart, the animated shorts. Again, and I'm not paid by Netflix or anything, but it's because so many people have them, and a lot of times with the shorts, you don't get a chance to see them. World of Tomorrow, which is the best of the 5, is on Netflix. If you search for World of Tomorrow, you can watch that at your leisure, and it's just delightful. And
World of Tomorrow. Okay, good. See, this is all very good information. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap everything up. Be back right after this.